you know, do you still do the stuff? And it's funny. I was just telling Gwen, like we, I was showing her real people, real results and people that we added to it today. And I was going through and showing her like people that we've messaged on Facebook Messenger that we met in Hawaii and like different contacts we've met, because that's one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about. When we were at Top Achievers in Maui, we had the privilege of Darren Hardy coming and speaking, and he wrote the book, The Compound Effect. And I know that some of you, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we were still there, we did our Zoom, and some of you had already went out and bought it because when I was in Michigan, you guys were talking about the book. If you have not got it yet, I would go to Amazon and get a copy. It's called The Compound Effect, and it is so good. And he just talks about that it's not the big things in life that get you, it's the little teeny tiny things that add up over time that affect your life. And he talks about lots of areas. Like he's like, look at your finances, you know, if you just start saving a little bit when you're 18, you know, and you do that just consistently, by the time you're 60, what happens versus waiting, you know, the same thing with working out. Like so I decided I'm going to do this half marathon, which if you've heard me, I told Justin this, he started laughing at me this morning, actually, because I've been saying this since before my 30th birthday. I was like, I'm going to run a half marathon. And I like started and quit twice because my right knee bothered me so bad. And then other times I just quit because I'll just be straight. Like I just didn't do it. Anybody like done that kind of stuff where they said they were going to do it and then just didn't do it, right? All of you are shaking your heads. So I'm going to be 40 except for Luke. Luke's shaking and laughing like he's done everything he said he's ever going to do. I bet Danielle is saying that's not true. And so I'm going to be 40 in February. And I was like, I'm going to run a half marathon for my 40th birthday. So I went online today and I found one. I signed up for it and everything. And then I was like, so my whole point too is like, it's the little things, right? So today I have been busy all day catching up with our business that we've been gone from a month. And so it was like 6 o'clock, 6:30, and I still hadn't ran yet. And I was like, crap, I knew Gwen was coming at 7. And so I'm like, okay, even if I can't run for 45 minutes, I can do 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is a little bit. And one of the things Darren shared was that he goes to the gym every day. And he said, I don't like going to the gym. I do it because it helps me be disciplined. It's part of my discipline is doing that every day. And he said he went in one day and it was really short and he left and the girl was like, you've only been here for 20 minutes. You know, you didn't stay very long. And he was like, I didn't come for the workout. I knew I didn't have much time, but I came for the discipline of doing the activity I said I was going to do. And so I ended up doing it for 36 minutes. I felt like I was going to keel over and die because in Hawaii, I think all we did was lay on the beach and have fun and drink margaritas. So I'm going to have to run a lot. And Kathy, when we go to Israel, we're going to be running. Kathy's going to have to walk when I'm running because I got to keep practicing. And so, I mean, you guys, the thing is like, all the little things he talked about, like I took pages of notes, like literally pages of notes from him training because it was so good. And we always get awesome trainers at Top Achievers, but they just kind of tell us the same thing every year, honestly. And so I said to Lynn Hagedorn the day before, and to Michael Klaus, I wonder who the book guy is going to be tomorrow, because every year they bring in a new book guy, and the book guy tells us what's going to make our business and our life wonderful. And then we leave and we get a copy of the book. So Michael started laughing. He's like, what do you mean, the book guy? And I'm like, you know, I kind of told him that. I'm like, it never really like makes a huge impact. But when Darren spoke, it really made sense to me because he talked about the little tiny things that add up. And he said, you know, and Amy was there and she's listening. So she's probably like, you're going to mess this up, but I'm going to try to do it as best as I can do it as how he did it. But he said, like, how many of you have ever been stung, you know, or bit by an elephant? You know, nobody. And he's like, how many of you have ever been stung or bit by a mosquito? And, you know, the whole room raised their hand. And he's like, it's the little things. It's the little tiny things in life that we think, I'll skip this one workout. I'll skip my devotions this morning, you know. And it's so interesting. I'm reading a book right now by a pastor's name's Wayne Cordero. And I was reading it this morning. And it was the exact same thing. He said, you know, he talked to a world-renowned pianist. And the pianist said, if I skip doing my scales one day, my teacher notices. If I skip doing my scales 2 days, I notice. And if I skip doing my skills 3 days, everyone notices. And he said it's the same thing with your devotions. If you skip doing them one day, you know. If you skip doing them 2 days, your family and your close friends start to sense you're different. And if you skip 3 days, you just start over again. He's like, everybody notices. And I just think like all those things, and they're both saying the same thing, my devotional I'm doing and this, it's like the daily activity, even if it's little things, you guys. So, you don't have to make 47 phone calls for Isagenix a day, but you do need to do one thing every single day that moves your business forward. And I'm going to be kind of skipping around here because literally I wrote like pages of notes from him because I could do 20 training calls on what he said. But he said, it's not how you start, it's how long you last. He said, if you look to the top incomers in this room, he said, it's the consistency. The consistency will win every single time over skill, over everything else. Consistency will win. And I think I know that is so true, because if we look at our business, Justin and I have been doing Isagenix for 12 years, and our income for 12 years has consistently grown by 6 figures every single year. But we consistently do stuff. Even when we went to Hawaii for this whole time, I came back with a list of names that I could flip open and show you guys of people that we met, that we talked to, that, we have 3 different Zooms scheduled this week for people from Hawaii that we met, that we talked about, not just the product, but the opportunity, sharing with everybody, like daily, still making the contacts, doing the follow-ups and all those types of things. So, one of the questions he asked, and I thought it was great kind of how in the setting we were in, but he said, do you want to be more successful than you are now? And I want you guys to ask yourself that, like in all areas of your life, not just Isagenix, but like, do you want to be a better wife? Do you want to be a better dad? Do you want to be, more successful at than where you are now? And if the answer is yes, then he says, why are you not? Why are you not? Like he said, usually it's not some big revolutionary answer. It's usually just a simple reason why you're not. You're not willing to get up 30 minutes earlier. That's not life-changing, getting up 30 minutes earlier, but it can be if in that 30 minutes you do something consistently every day. I mean, look at you, Jen, when you started doing your transformation of your fitness. I love watching you because you'll have a 30-minute lunch break and you go swim 2 miles. I'm going to say it wrong. You probably swim 20 miles, but she swims so many miles at lunch. But she takes these little time blocks, and it's little bits, but the little bits add up if you do them every single day. And it's the same thing with your business, you guys. If you're just really, really consistent in your business, how that works. And I loved his book too, and what he said, because he just said so many people, and I want you to take this right, because if you know me and you've heard me train, I am all about vision boards. I am about having your goals up in front of you. We have them up in our house. We know what our goals are. But he just said, if you think hanging stuff on a wall is going to get you where you want to go, and there's not going to be hard work involved, you're crazy. He's like, the work is at least 50% of it, right? It's not just putting the goals out there, but what are you doing daily? And so you guys, he has this chart that we're going to post on our website on justinandhilaricourtney.com. But this is going to be hard for you guys to see. But it's called a weekly rhythm register. And so it was awesome because over here it has like your activity, and then it says Monday through Sunday, and then it says achieved, your goal, and then your net. So like say my behavior action is 3-way call, and I know that I want to do, my goal is to do 10 of them this week. So over here in the goal, I'd put 10. And then every day, however many I do each day, I write it down. So say I do 1 on Monday, 2 on Thursday, whatever. You get over here to achieved. And if I did 7 for the week total, I achieved 7. My goal was 10. So I was -3. And so he tracks here for like, you could track, how many follow-ups, how many coaching calls, how many just different income producing activities for your business, and then what your goal is and what you've actually achieved for the week. And the one I'm going to post actually has a bunch of these filled in for you. So it gives you like 6 or 7 ideas of things, but it's just, daily accountability and tracking, what you're doing, because he's like, the world we live in is so immediate gratification. Like everybody wants the result right now. And he's like, but people a lot of times don't see the result for 90 days, for 120 days. The stuff you're doing right now, you guys, will be reflective in your cycles in 3 months. I mean, some of it might be right now, if you have somebody come in and just go after their business, but still you're really going to see it in 90 days, in 120 days. So, you have to remember that the daily things are going to continue to add up. And over time, they really become a lot. Another thing he said is the process is mundane, unexciting, defeating, laborious, unsexy. Like those are all words you don't want to hear, right? But like today, as I sat at my kitchen counter and followed up with all those people from Hawaii, like I messaged some of them, I called some, I texted some of them, I added some of them to Real People, Real Results. Like none of that is glamorous. None of that is like, but we want the end result, right? We want to hit 2-star. We want to come to Rise Up, right? Who wants to be at Rise Up? Everybody? All the hands. And so you have to do the daily stuff that nobody sees, like behind the scenes every single day. And that's what gets you to that point. And one of the things he said to us, he said, success is rented. It's never owned. And that really was like it's rented. Like if you don't do the do, somebody else is out doing the do, and they're going to get the people that you know. And he's like, especially in this business, like you don't want to show up to a meeting and have somebody that you know there with somebody else because you didn't talk to them first, and you didn't, because that is going to happen at some point. I mean, Isogenics, is going to become a household name. More and more people know about Isogenics every day. And so if you have a list of people, take action today, put it on your chart and have that number of people, that you want to reach out to. And when I was new, my first month, my goal was to share, and you guys have heard me say this, but to share with 100 people in my first 30 days, like get them to either watch a video or me to sit with them. Now I didn't do that many. I did 41, but so out of 41, 27 people tried the products, you guys. And so, I mean, you could do that. You could set your goals 10 a week, individual appointments, and now with Zoom, it's so easy. I mean, 3 of our appointments this week are with people in Hawaii. They're like 4,000 miles from us, but we have the Zoom, so we can do it. So it doesn't matter, where you live, yeah. Linda, the accountability is awesome. And like one thing he talked about, and I wrote that down somewhere else, but I thought about it when I was running. I was reading this while I was running too. He said, like, you won't do it for yourself, but you'll do it for your friends. He talked about having accountability groups. Let me find where it is. Okay, I'll find it. Oh, he says we quit on ourselves, but we show up for our friends. And I think that's so true. That's like there's a group of us who kind of work out together. I say kind of because we were doing really good before I left for Hawaii. They probably kept doing it when I was gone, but I didn't do anything when I was gone. And so, but showing up, and he talked about getting a group together, like an executive group of like 3 to 5 people, and having your own Facebook page, like a closed Facebook page of just the 3 to 5 of you that are all going for a same goal. So, get a couple people who are all going for executive, or who are all going for 1-star, or I know there's a huge group of you guys going for 2-star to come to Rise Up. Get on a page and just really encourage each other every single day. Like when Gwen walked in today, the first thing I said to her is, I was sweaty and smelly, and I'm like, I want to run with you. Like, will you run with me? Like, cause I know she runs and she likes it. I think she likes it. She kind of likes it. She likes it this much. I like it this much, but I want to feel the accomplishment of doing it. So I'm going to do it. And I'm hoping by the end I like it. So anyway, but you guys, like that, the same thing with the goal poster. So today when I signed up for the half marathon, it's the Disney one, because I thought I'm going to make it fun. It's got to be fun. And then, Jen, are you going to that? Okay. I can't hear you, but you'll be way ahead of me probably. I'll be like dragging behind, but I will finish. And so I printed pictures. Emerson was here, and I'm like, what outfit am I going to wear? Because it's like you dress up, right? So I like Snow White. So we went online and found this Snow White outfit, and I printed a picture so I can put it on my vision board. Like, you guys probably think that's insane, but like, you have to have what you want in front of you. Like, I just handed Gwen an executive chart, and I'm like, let's pencil in the names. Like, who do you know that we can put on here, and who do they know, and how are we going to talk to them? And you have to have a plan. You have to have a roadmap. And so you guys, I really think that accountability group, just like I asked if she'd run with me or if I could go run with her, is the same thing. Like, you've got to have accountability. So, and don't just have it be your best friend, because if they quit, you'll quit. And typically we always say groups of 3 or more, because one of you, will keep the other ones from quitting. I'm just going to read through some of these notes, because there were so many nuggets when I was running on the treadmill that I'd already put away, but then forgot. And I want you guys to hear some of them, because it was just so good. What else did he say? He talked about the people that win are patient endurance. He said they have patient endurance. And I think it's so interesting. Those are such different words, right? Like endurance, like going and going and going, and patience. Like for me, that's that's my fruit of the spirit. That's the smallest. Like I have to pray for patience daily with 4 children. And so like, but I think if you think about that, just being patient and consistent. And that's one thing, like when I look at some of our leaders who've been in a long time that are really consistent, like, I mean, if I look at Carrie, she consistently enrolls like 2 people every single week. Carrie, how long have you been in for? 3 years? 3, almost 3? She's ever muted.
3.5.
3.5. Really? How has it been that long already?
Isn't that crazy?
3.5. And literally, you guys, I mean, there may be a week here or there, but if she doesn't have 2, she makes it up the next week. Like it's just consistency. And you listen to her train, she talks about her funnel is always full of so many people that, you know, new people are coming in, but the people she talked to a couple months ago are then enrolling. And so I just think that consistency is so key. And so anyway, he had that down here, the patient endurance. And then he talked about choices, and I thought it was really, really cool. He said, it's a kind of what we talked about before, but he said it's the little things, like the one little choice, but that choice then becomes your behavior, the behavior becomes your habit, and the habit compounds and compounds. And he's like, people that, you know, go on a diet or want to lose weight, you know, it's just one choice at a time. It's a daily, everyday choice, just like it is in life. And so I'm going to tell you what else he said. He said, I'm looking at some of the different things I want to make sure I tell you guys. He said in our business, you have to become like who you want to enroll. So if you're wanting to enroll positive, like-minded go-getters, you have to be that. You know, he's like, people want to join a tribe of people that are like they are. And so, you know, if you keep saying, well, I'm only getting people who, you know, don't want to spend very much money on the product, or I only get people who, you know, complain about this, or I only get people who don't have enough time, you might want to like reflect on, okay, are you saying those things? I mean, one time we had a guy on our team and he's like, I can't get anybody to give me their social security number. Nobody will do that. And when it was the old way. And I'm like, I don't have anybody give me a hard time about the social. But he was saying to them, you know, like, here you go, you need to fill out this form. Sorry, we have to get your social. Here's why. He would like go into this whole spiel. And I'm like, what are you doing? And so it's what you think about, right, that you're attracting. And so, you know, make sure that he had us write down attributes of who we want to enroll. And so I wrote down like hardworking, loyal, giving, loving, Christian. Like these are just ones for me personally. You write down whatever you want. But these were attributes that I put on my list of who I want to attract in my business. And so who you want to attract, write down the attributes of those people, because like Gwen's making a big list of names. And so those are people, like we always say, you get to choose who you work with in Isogenics, right? It's not like a corporate job where you get stuck with Joe Schmo that you can't stand. I mean, you get to pick. And so pick wisely who you know. Oh, this is something, you guys, was so good, so good, so good. Everybody get your pens ready. I thought this was really good. He said, your habits start out like cobwebs and they become like cables. Your habits start out like cobwebs and they become like cables. And I think sometimes you think, oh, I'll just do that one time, or I'll just cheat this one time on this meal, or I just won't exercise this one day, or I just won't do my devotions this one time, or I'll just skip this one thing. And they're like little things, right? And then the more you do them, the more solidified they become, and they become easy. And he's like, things that you need to do are easy. Hard things are easy. The things you have to do are easy, but you got to pick which one you want to do. You know, he's like, if you do the hard things, they become easy. If you do the easy things, you're going to have a hard life. And he's like, what do you want to do? And I just thought, I love that. I wrote that down like in big print and circled it and highlighted it. Habits start out like cobwebs, but they develop and become like cables. And how many of you guys that makes sense for? There's stuff that you look at in your life now and you're like, crap. Man, you read that, I was like, oh, okay. So there's stuff I wanted to go home and fix, you know? And he said, you know, another thing that I love that he said is you need it in your life, not just in your business, but depend upon why power, not willpower. He said willpower will let you down every single time. Even if you have the strongest willpower, he's like, if you get in the wrong circumstance with the wrong people, willpower will let you down. But he said why power doesn't. And what he means by why power is, why are you doing it? Why did you start out doing it? What do you Like, what's the reason you're trying to accomplish this or do a goal or whatever? Like, say I'm, want to lose 20 pounds, willpower will let me down. But if I know that the reason why I'm doing it is so that I can, ski with my kids and be healthy, for my family, the why will hold you through when the willpower lets you down. And I thought that was great. Another thing he said is, and I loved this, so many things he said, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, so when you read the book, there's like chapters on each one of these little nuggets I'm giving you. It's so good. But he said, human failure is in the drift. And he said, if you look at people's lives, there's not a point where they just veer totally off. He's like, it's like a 1 degree. And he like looked at us and he said, did you see that? He's like, he like moved his head like 1 degree. And he's like, 1 degree, but that consistently is going to take you totally to a different place than if you would have stayed on the course. And so he's like, just, it is the little tiny, I know I keep repeating that, but it's like he said, it's in the drift. It's the little tiny things that we think are no big deal that duplicate. And especially in this business, you guys, he talked about leadership as a parent, leadership as a spouse, leadership in a business. But he said, like, with that, like people, he didn't use the word duplication. He used demonstrate. He said, demonstrate is the way you lead. You don't lead by telling people what to do or how to do it. You demonstrate it. You keep doing it, and then people see it. And he said, they've done all these different studies of children and what their parents say to them and then what their parents do. And he said 98% of behavior developed under the age of 8 is mimicking what their parents do, not what their parents say. Mimicking 98%. And I mean, think about your business. If you're not doing the do still, like if you're still not talking to people, if you're not following up people, if you're not enrolling people, if you're not building new executives personally, I mean, why do you think your team's going to do it? I mean, that's why, I mean, for us, we hit paid as executive 5 weeks in, and we have stayed paid as for 12 years, you guys. And I don't tell that to you to be like, woo. I mean, it's work. I mean, we still have people in that original business center of our executives, because now we have our reentries executive and Justin's spot. And so we still have to go back over there sometimes and be like, are you going to make sure that order goes in or put in a new person? I mean, and we've done this for 12 years. So I just want you guys to understand, like, we're not saying to you, hey, go do this, and then we're not talking to people. Like, one of the things he said too, and we'll do a whole nother call on it because I don't even know what time it is. But he talked about the pendulum, and it was so good, that people want success. He's like, here's the pendulum. This isn't very straight. Here's like the pendulum, and over here is like pain, rejection, failure, but over here is like love, joy, massive success. And he's like, people just want the stuff over here, right? The love, the joy, the massive success. But you can't make a pendulum I need like a little ball. You can't make a pendulum, right? Only swing one direction. It has to go both. And he said, so if you want massive success, how do you get it? You got to drop the ball all the way to massive failure. If you want joy, there's got to be pain. That's how we know what joy is, because we know what pain is. If you want love, then you have moments where you didn't have that. And so he said, if you want massive success, the only way to get it is to have massive failure. And people, I know when I say that, people are like, what? And that's kind of like, I know in the room people were like that. But I mean, think about it, like all these people that we're talking to, I just showed Gwen on my phone. Like this one lady we've messaged, it was my 3rd time to message her. But when we were in Hawaii, her husband was so interested in the residual income piece. They own a business and we met them. I messaged her 3 times with no reply. So today I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep messaging her and keep trying to follow. I found her on Facebook. I'm like, I'm going to talk to her husband again somehow. And so today she messaged me back and she goes, we're interested. We want to talk. It's just our busy season. And she's like, what day is going to work well for you this week? So I know when they hear the residual, I know they're going to do this. But if I would have just said, oh, I don't want to, I'm worried about what they're going to think, this pendulum would never swing this way, right? Does that make sense, you guys? And so he said, go out and fail big. Like he talked about a real estate agent and he wanted to be the #1 real estate agent. So he said, he asked the guy, what do I do to become #1? I'll do whatever you say. And he said, get as many no's, get as many rejections as you can, and you'll be #1. And because every single time it's making your character stronger. And it's so interesting because when I was new, I was in about 3 years probably, I was in the elevator with Jimmy Smith and it was just Jimmy and I, and this lady got on, and some of you heard me share the story, but she was like, oh my gosh, it's Jimmy Smith. She was like losing her mind. And he was, so gracious like he always is. And she said, you've had so much success and everybody tells you yes. And he just like stopped her really kindly like he does. And he's like, ma'am, I'm where I am because I've had more no's than anybody else in this whole business. He's like, I go for the no. He's like, if I can get no's, I know it's going to get me to a yes. As many no's as I can get will get me to a yes. And he said, the no's, the yeses have built my business and the no's have built my character. And I just remember, I think I was like 30 years old when he said that. I remember just sitting thinking like, dude, like he's so wise. Like it's true though, like the no's build your character. Like when people say no, I mean, what, it's not a big deal, you guys. Like there's this lady named Bree and I introduced her today on, Real People, Real Results. I think she could be amazing. She was so passionate, so incredible at her job. And she didn't love what she did. But if I was worried about her telling me no, I can't help her family. I mean, I know this can help her family. I know it can give her time freedom. I know it can give them financial freedom. But if I'm worried about what is she going to think about me, or what are people going to think about me? I mean, that it's so selfish. You're not even doing this for the right reasons. Like you should be doing this because you want to help people. And if you are, then it's so easy. If they say no, it's like, okay, just next. And you just go to the next person. It's not about you. It's nothing personal. So anyway, I thought that was really good that he said that. What else did he say? He said, do the same thing every day relentlessly. And I thought that was good because I think people think that you like reinvent the wheel. And you guys, like I said this in Michigan this weekend, like this is a simple business. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple. You eat food, you share it with people, you teach people how to eat the food and how to share it with other people. You cast vision and show people how their life can be different. And you repeat it and you repeat it and you repeat it every single day. I mean, that's what we did with those people that we met down there. Like, I keep talking about that because that's the group of people that we've been talking to in the last month. But I mean, with every one of them, we did the same thing. We talked about the product. We used the product. They saw us eat the product. We told them what it was. We casted the vision. We're able to be here for 24 days because this company can give you time freedom and financial freedom that you never even knew existed. And we talked about, just like I did in Michigan, like, what were your dreams? Like, I'm going to ask you guys this. Some of you guys are Michiganders, but some of you are not. Like, what did you dream when you were a kid? Like, what did you want to do if you could do anything? And like, why are you not doing that? Like somewhere somebody said something to you that put a cap. And you don't have to live like that because like God says he will give us the desires of our heart, and like I have different desires in my heart than you have in yours. And not everybody wants to do isogenics, you guys. That's why they're not here. But if you're passionate and that's something that's a burning desire for you, then go after it. Like you just cannot care what other people think. You got to put your blinders on and just do it, right? Carrie, yes, allow yourself to dream again because people stop. We stop. And then I don't know why we get to a point and that happens. But isogenics has really allowed us to dream again. And that's what we want for you guys. What else did he say? I love this too. He said, the next few years, he would use this as a line. He said, the next few years are going to pass anyway. Why not go with me? So he said, if he was talking to somebody and he was in isogenics, he would say to them, like, Kathy, the next few years are going to pass anyway. Why not go with me on this journey? Why not just eat the food, see what happens? He's like, just talk to people like that. Life is going to go on. And if you're going to share with people, get them on board with you so they can benefit from that. So I'm trying to see what else I wrote down, you guys. But that was a lot of it. I could probably do a whole nother call on it because it was so good. That's why you should earn Top Achievers next year. It's going to be in the Bahamas at Bahamar. It's going to be amazing. There's no reason why everybody on this call cannot go. It is only June. Then you have until March, February 28th to earn it. I mean, that is 8 months, right? Yes, because that's when I'm running that half marathon. I have 8 months. Okay. 8 months. You have 8 months that you can earn this. And I mean, we earned it last time for this last Top Achievers with 1 week to spare, 1 week to go. So if we would have said a month out, oh, screw it, we're not going to earn it, we wouldn't have made it. You got to work to the last minute. You got to know right now, know how to get there. If you don't know how to get there, then you need to message your upline or message me and say, I don't even know how to earn it. And we'll show you how to do it because I know Amy said after being there, like, I don't want my team to miss it. Like, I want to take back 5 or 6 of my team members. I want my team to go with me because it's just so incredible. And you get this type of training, you guys. And so Just so, so good. I will share one last thing. I know we're like at 9 o'clock, but, or 10 o'clock for our East Coasters. But he just talked about relationships in business and in life. And he said, people always say it has to be 50-50. And he said, it really has to be 100% and 0. He said, you always have to give 100% and you have to always expect 0% in return. And he said, when you really start living like that in your marriages and in your business relationships and in your life in general with your kids, when you are willing to give 100% and not expect anything in return, that's when it changes. And I really thought that was really, really good. He said, it's all you, because he said there's kind of 3 situations. It's how your life turns out. It's what you do, what you didn't do, and how you respond to what's done to you. So he said, what you do in your life, what you didn't do in your life, and how you respond to what's done to you. And he's like, those 3 things together, if you give 100% in all those areas, then it really, he says, people say all the time, I take 100% responsibility for my life. And then he's like, 5 minutes later, they're, justifying and complaining, and they're not taking 100% responsibility. So, he said, just consider those 3 things every time you make a decision, or every time you get ready to blame or justify or complain, consider that. So anyway, he was awesome. We always have a new book guy, but I wish they'd bring him back every year. I thought he was the best. So if you have not got that book, again, it's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he actually has a podcast. It's called Darren Daily that I subscribe to now. It's free. And it's just like literally like 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. It's really short, but it is just so good. Like the other morning, even in like when I got up in Michigan, I was exhausted. I just play when I was curling my hair, and I just listened to it, and it was 5 minutes, but it just really reframes how you think every single morning, the first thing when you're getting up. So it was super good. Anyway, okay. So next Monday night is a couple nights before the 4th of July. How can it be July? How can it be July already? But so we'll have our call on Monday night. And then in a couple weeks, we're going to have some special guests get on that are in the START movement. Justin and I always say we were START before it was cool. Now we're just old, but we were START before START was even here. So we're going to have some cool START people get on here and talk to you guys. But next Monday night will be me or Justin. One of us will be on here together probably. And so hope you guys have a great week. Remember, free shipping, free enrollment. People save $50 to $80 this week. It's a perfect time to get people started. And you can close out stuff for celebration as well. So anyway, all right. Hope you guys have a great week.
Thank you. Thanks, Hilary. Great call.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.